Right, morning everyone. Today we have Psalm 31, which is a Psalm of David. And it goes like this. It's quite long. In you, Lord, I have taken refuge. Never let me be put to shame. Deliver me in your righteousness. Turn your ear to me. Come quickly to my rescue. Be my rock of refuge, a strong fortress to save me. Since you are my rock and my fortress, for the sake of your name, lead and guide me. Keep me from the trap that is set for me, for you are my refuge. Into your hands I commit my spirit. Deliver me, Lord, my faithful God. I hate those who cling to worthless idols. As for me, I trust in the Lord. I will be glad and rejoice in your love. For you saw my affliction and knew the anguish of my soul. You have not given me into the hands of the enemy, but have set my feet in a spacious place. Be merciful to me, Lord, for I am in distress. My eyes grow weak with sorrow, my soul and body with grief. My life is consumed by anguish, and my years by groaning. My strength fails because of my affliction, and my bones grow weak. Because of all my enemies, I am the utter contempt of my neighbours, and an object of dread to my closest friends. Those who see me on the street flee from me. I am forgotten as though I were dead. I have become like broken pottery, for I hear many whispering terror on every side. They conspire against me and plot against my life. But I trust in you, Lord. I say, you are my God. My times are in your hands. Deliver me from the hands of my enemies, from those who pursue me. Let your face shine on your servant. Save me in your unfailing love. Let me not be put to shame, Lord, for I have cried out to you. But let the wicked be put to shame and be silent in the realm of the dead. Let their lying lips be silenced, for with pride and contempt they speak arrogantly against the righteous. How abundant are the good things that you have stored up for those who fear you, that you bestow in the sight of all, on those who take refuge in you. In the shelter of your presence you hide them from all human intrigues. You keep them safe in your dwelling from accusing tongues. Praise be to the Lord, for he showed me the wonders of his love. When I was a city under siege, in my alarm I said, I am cut off from your sight. Yet you heard my cry for help when I called to you for help. Love the Lord, all his faithful people. The Lord preserves those who are true to him, but the proud he pays back in full. Be strong and take heart, all you who hope in the Lord. Now, many commentators think this psalm was written by David when he was dealing with Absalom's revolt. And to remind you what was going on there, because I certainly had forgotten, Absalom was David's third son. 2 Samuel 14:25 tells us he was the most handsome man in the kingdom and David's favourite, who lived in style, driving a massive chariot around preceded by 50 runners. Now, life in David's court seems, well, it makes Game of Thrones seem like a cozy, happy family. Absalom first kills his half-brother, Ammon, David's eldest son, in revenge, because Ammon has got drunk and raped Tamar, Absalom's sister. Absalom then revolts against his father and is initially very successful, possibly because he promised better access to justice and flattered people. And he forces David to flee Jerusalem with only a small bodyguard. And Absalom then marked his victory by sleeping with David's concubines. But David fights back and defeats Absalom at a battle called Ephraim's Wood. And a fleeing Absalom gets his long hair caught in a tree. So he gets caught by Joab, the commander of David's army. And despite David specifically ordering that no harm should come to him, Joab orders Absalom to be killed. And when David hears this, he's consumed by grief. He goes full Queen Victoria on it. He's not running the country, he's just sitting around moping, so much that Joab has to shame him out of it and tell him to pull himself together and get on with running the country. I find David a really difficult person. We're supposed to, he's portrayed as this ideal king, the man after God's heart. And then you read the biblical narrative and he's a real rotter. He seems to have more in common with Saddam Hussein than any other ruler that you might want to look up to. All his sons are psychopaths who are given far too much wealth and power and go around terrorizing people. He seems barely competent as a manager of a country, given that when Absalom rebels, he's got no problem persuading people to join him, suggesting that there's quite a lot of distent. His favorite son is a drunken, incestuous murderer. That doesn't say much for his parenting skills. And of course, the example David sets as a father is not good. His treatment of women is appalling. His personal life is a massive shagfest with many wives and concubines, and even then he can't keep his hands off other people's wives. But he is the hero of the biblical narrative, the ideal king. Maybe he was the best available at the time, and other candidates were very much worse. He's certainly a great poet, and there's many great poets whose private lives left a lot to be desired. Ted Hughes, Philip Larkin, Oscar Wilde, Lord Byron. So he does fit in the sort of archetype of great poet with a chaotic personal life. And in this psalm, he captures what it feels like to be desperate, to be in a real tight spot. You can feel the jeopardy he's in. And yet, despite the fact that he's in such a tight spot, and the problem could be one largely of his own making, and he's getting his just desserts. Because remember, the prophet Nathan said that one of the consequences of his carrying on with Bathsheba and the killing of her husband would be that his sons rebelled. He still clings to faith in God and is certain of rescue. And these words have resonated with other people in tight spots. Luke has Jesus quote from verse 5 on the cross. "Into your hands, Lord, I commit my spirit." And Stephen says something similar in Acts, just before he gets stoned, which meant something different back then. The words are the same, but the meaning has changed. David committed his spirit into the Lord's hand of hope of finding rescue in this life, of turning the tables on his enemies. Jesus and Stephen knew there was no hope of rescue in this life. They knew that they were about to die, but were looking forward to a bigger victory of resurrected life. As ever, we need to follow Jesus' example. I don't think we can expect God to solve all our problems and get us out of every scrape we get ourselves into. Jesus and Stephen attest to that. But we do know he loves us, and in the end, he will overcome and we will be with him. Thank you very much. That's all I have for you.